What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Hopefully, everyone is doing absolutely amazing. Welcome to our day 6 of prayer and fasting here on the channel. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in, giving up of your time and energy to be here with us today in God's presence and also with myself delivering you a message. If you're here live, put it in the chat that I'm here, Brian. I'm here on a Saturday evening, trying to finish out these final stretch 2 days with you. I appreciate you because, hey, Saturday nights, Saturday evenings, I understand it may not be the best time for everybody to join in. Weekdays, you might have a little bit more free time, but if you're here, go ahead and put it in the chat. I want to speak to those and get us started here very shortly because I know you're already patiently waiting. So thank you so much for your patience, and we will get right into it today. Our topic is going to be clarity and guidance. Clarity and guidance. Both of these words, as you're seeing, each day has been building upon one another. Yesterday was so powerful, and the previous day and the day before that, in the beginning of the week, and hopefully you've been matriculating all the way up to this point to understand that it's a journey, right? We're running a race as a part of a marathon, and each and every day it just seems more tough and more tough and more tough to make sure that you're standing strong as possible. So I appreciate each and every one of you, and let's jump into it today. All right, clarity and guidance, clarity and guidance. If you could put in the chat really quick, just clarity, clarity, clarity. I need clarity in this season, and I need clarity not out of my own understanding. A lot of times, a lot of things we're trying to, get clear on, and you've got voices in your ear, and you are in your own head and you're trying to make decisions for your life, and ultimately no one has the right answer. Everyone's giving their perspective on what they think, and I do believe that there's no right perspective. It's just experiences, and in the day you have to live with those decisions that you make. So just put clarity in the chat if you could. All right, so as always, let's define these words here. Clarity, or clear, the quality of being clear or easily understood, the ability to see beyond the surface of a situation. Whew. Um, None of us can predict the future. We only can live in the present. And it's unfortunate sometimes that a lot of our present decisions are indicative sometimes of a positive or a negative future. And a lot of us, we have some regret because we thought we were clear in the moment, but then we were actually, making a decision that was going to be impactful. And that's very hard to grapple with, whether it's financial, like, man, I thought that was a good decision back then. I thought I was clear headed and we're making the right move and we're going in the right direction. And it ended up being maybe not the right move at the time, but it seemingly was. Can't control that yet again. Second, maybe you make the wrong move, right, in the moment, and yet you didn't see it through even further. So then the outcome was there for you all along, but because you made a decision or you didn't make a decision, you missed out on the opportunity and the blessing that was in front of you. So I look at both of these views and I'm like, man, it's just skewed. We try to define, we try to look for what's in the word, and we try to see, how we can build upon each other. So I want you to keep that in your mind. The quality of being clear or easily understood, the ability to see beyond the surface of a situation. Clarity can refer to the quality of being seen or heard, such as a good sound system. It can also refer to the quality of being seen through, such as the clear crystal glass or your windshield that's a little bit dirty, right? It just needs a little wiping off so you can see a little bit clearer of what's good in front of you or potentially what is not so good. Understanding a situation is also very important when you're trying to gain clarity. Is I need to see both sides of the coin, both sides of the situation, to see what is actually true and what is actually emotions, and putting those two together and say, man, I need to do what I need to do for me. Direction and purpose also drives clarity. So as I get more clear, I can actually go down the right path and start discovering what is for me and what's not for me. And sometimes that takes a very short amount of time and a little bit of a break in a season. Sometimes it's a very drastic, like we've been talking about this week, upside down turn. I need to take a left turn in my life completely. And whether the grass is green on the other side or it's not, I just knew that I needed to do something. right? And we have to live with those decisions. Let's look at guidance. Guidance, proper counsel, proper guidance. I think of a guide, right? We think of like a tour guide, right? I'm here in Vegas, and there's a lot of tours that go along throughout the city, and you're just looking like, man, if I wanted to tour the Grand Canyon, if I wanted to tour the Strip, if I wanted to, take a helicopter tour, there's a guide. And that guide hopefully is experienced in that realm of that place or space, right? There's a level of understanding all around, so you can spearhead and direct and teach and educate and give counsel and give a listening ear, whatever it is. So the definition of guidance, advice or information aimed at resolving a problem or difficulty. So I have a difficult way of navigating a terrain, then yeah, I'm gonna probably ask a guide or ask a coach or ask a mentor or ask family members or ask trusted friends. I'm trying to resolve a problem or difficulty, especially as given by someone in authority. So, advice or information aimed at resolving a problem, especially as given by someone in authority. Whew, this one touches me because I look at guidance a little bit differently in my life now. I seek guidance, I seek counsel, not just off of a lot of time longest, seeing a version of me that was not the true me, um, feeling and being emotionally supportive for me just because. A lot of times our guidance needs to be in different arenas. So that's why people have a spiritual guide, a financial guide, an emotional, a mental guide, a directional, a purposeful guide. We have lending ears that may be more emotional in stance. And then we have maybe hopefully lending ears, or I like to call it my council or my circle, my board of directors of people that are going to tell it to me straight. So if I got a friend that says, Brian, you were in the wrong, man. If I've got a family member that I can trust and go to that says, hey, let me ask you a few more questions. Were you actually in the wrong? Did you have a part in this? Can it be resolved? Whatever it might be, right? Did you make the wrong financial decision? I know that you're my child. I know that you are a friend. I know this. I know you had good intentions, but let's get down to the root and the facts. So guidance, a lot of times, people, a lot of times we gravitate towards guidance or we look for guidance from an agreement standpoint, right? There's a natural neurological response that we want acceptance that we're right. So if I go ask somebody something, I typically already know what I want. I just want to hear that that person or that guide or that mentor, that teacher, whoever it is that I'm seeking guidance from, if it's, and we're going to get to the guidance from God, right? And hearing God and seeking God. But I'm just talking about here on earth. We have a natural response to be wanting to be right. We're trying to build up our confidence and trust in ourselves that we're doing the right thing for us. So when we go places and spaces, right, we naturally will ask a question, or I would say an emotionally growing person will ask a question to a guide and say, hey, what's this? When really the questions should be verbalized a little bit differently because you technically already know the answer, or you're looking for an agreement, or yeah, I was thinking that too. Oh yeah. That's what I thought. Oh yeah, I knew that. Am I right or am I wrong? None of us will go to a guide seekingly. I'm talking about most, the majority will go to a guide or will seek clarity and want to be yelled at, screamed at, potentially shunned, right? Potentially doubted, potentially said, man, actually, you're really not that good at that. No one is asking for that, right? As we grow, we may begin to seek that. Like, please, like, tell me what I did wrong. Tell me if I'm in the wrong. Please, like, throw it on me. Most are not going to ask for that. God, tell me right now, God, please, like, Give me a blessing, a sign that this may do wonders in my life. And please don't let me to get any hurt and any pain. And please make sure that my finances are protected. No one's asking like, make me broke so I can learn the lessons and overcome everything. Actually, rip every Band-Aid off of my life, every relationship that I've been in, familiar, partnership, friendship, just rip them all out so I know what it's like when they're not there. No one's asking for that. So when we're seeking guidance and when we're seeking clarity, guess what? In my summary, we have to be ready for the truth. We have to understand that it's not always going to be in our favor. We have to understand that, hey, you're going to have to go down this road, unfortunately. Hey, you're going to have to put on your coat, your jackets, your shoes. You might not have food for another mile. Hey, it's going to hurt. But guess what? I'm your guide. And a guide, guess what, is advising and providing information. Does the guide or the guidance or the clarity say, I'm coming to save you? I'm coming to carry you? No, I'm advising and providing information to, guess what? You have to decide where you want to go. And if you're asking or seeking clarity or guidance in your life, you want the truth, right? You want to get to where you're trying to go to. So we have two parts in this to summarize it, and then we'll go into our normal formula, our 4-step formula. We've got to be, if we are in position where we're seeking guidance and clarity, which I believe all of us are, we have to have two sides of the coin. We have to have an emotional awareness to see where we're trying to go. I have to ask myself the right questions. Where do you want to go? Where do you desire to go? I don't care if it's far-fetched. I don't care if it sounds crazy. I don't care if it's completely left field from where you thought you were headed in life. Vocalize it, write it down, or seek counsel properly where there's a lending ear. Second, if you're on the other side and you're providing counsel or guidance or mentorship or coaching, please ask the right questions to that individual, or you're asking the right questions to God to say, hey, allow me the responsibility to steward this season I'm in as a guide, as a mentor, as a counsel, as a parent. Give me the responsibility and the ability to actually ask the right questions, actually to give what that person is needing, not what they want to hear, what they need to hear. And I just, that's the toughest part, is we have a lot of part ones over here. We have a lot of lane ones. We have a lot of people that are hurt, that are seeking guidance because they don't have clarity in their own lives. They're only projecting that my life is great because I have developed this path. Hey, I went to college, or hey, my marriage is this way, or hey, my relationship is this way. Oh, hey, you should look out for this. I've heard of this before. Like, hey, but you've never experienced it. Hey, I heard this, I heard that. You know those people in your life? Or maybe you're that person. And it's okay. There's no wrongdoing in that. But there's a responsibility on the other half. So we got about 90% of society where everyone's looking for answers and clarity and guidance. And guess what? We're just trauma dumping, and we're just projecting, and we're just, hey, you should do this and you should do. Meanwhile, you're going through your own stuff. So guess what? Everyone's trying to protect everybody. Who's the 10%? Really, it should be a 0.5%, a 0.001%. Because guess what? You know who takes up the majority? The man upstairs. All knowing. Every move that we're making has already been planted for us. We think we're in control. We think we're God. That is a responsibility to give guidance to people's lives. That is a responsibility to steward the skill set of being able to provide information. Why do you think I take it so seriously? You see, you hear a different tone from me today is because we're finally rounding out and I'm going from happy and excited and to serious and then to directive and you hear my tone with you because we've got to start breaking some chains. I've experienced a lot of ups and downs in my life overall, whether it was my own accord or a lot of times it wasn't on my own accord. There's been a lot of decisions that have been made that I've had to just live with. Like, oh, okay. And you start asking, and that's where the wisdom begins to come because you start asking, like, wow, like, are people's decisions coming from God? Or are people's decisions a lot of times coming from the projection of what individuals see, but not seeing a God-fearing person or seeing what that could be? So we're just going back and forth consistently. And it's a shame. I see it. I've seen it. I'll say this. I've seen it more than most because of the line of work that I've decided to be in. I guess you can call it just life's work. So when I'm providing information, guess what I get? Hey, Brian, like, actually, my marriage is not good, man. Actually, you know why I can't show up? Because, I got my kids and I didn't even know if I wanted kids. Actually, but I got to be here for them. Hey, Brian, I kind of rushed into this decision over here, so I don't have the money for you. So, I really want your help and your guidance, but I got to get over this thing over here. Hey, man, like, I thank you so much for a lending ear. I'm working through this with my therapist, but like, actually, this is how I feel. Like, I actually want to trade, but the reason I want to trade is because I need an extra 10 grand to get out of my situation, to provide a better life for my family. It's a whole different ball game than just saying, hey, I want to learn how to trade. Like, it's for fun. No, this is serious for me. So I hear it every day. And when when you're called to that responsibility and you've chosen that responsibility, a lot of you are in that place in your life. Maybe it's not at the level of where you're maybe hearing myself. It's like, oh, Brian, I just go to work and do this. Like, I don't listen to all my coworkers and all that stuff. Like, I don't know how folks do that. Like, it's a different perspective on life. It's a whole different perspective on life because you realize the strongest people that you see that are projected on socials, you see the strongest people proclaiming to have this much money and they know everything and they're trying to give advice, yet it doesn't mean that they have to give every piece of them. It just means, man, are they a human being or are they a human doing so they can just operate? They're an operator. Everything's great. Everything's buttoned up. And that's when you hear people giving up on life. That's when it comes out the woodworks, when individuals that are the strongest, that are carrying the biggest weights in their lives, whether it's the financial weight, whether it's the emotional weight, whether it's the childbearing weight, whether it's the career bearing weight, whether it's I'm the chain breaker in my family and there's nobody else. Guess what? Everybody's seeking clarity. Lord, please give me ability for just wipe this window clean so I can see everything in view. Good, bad, and different. Not just cloud one side. You know how a windshield wiper on sometimes it's just like, some of y'all are in snow right now. You just wipe off the driver's view, yet the passenger's view is still skewed. That's how people are walking through life. I just wipe off this piece. Just let me be me. Just wipe off that. So I'm seeing clearly. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't think about passenger side. I've had this microscopic view of life as really over the past 2 to 3 years. And I imagine myself looking down on the earth and seeing a bunch of scattered ants, i.e., humans, all with 30 to 60,000 thoughts a day rolling around in their minds. And each one of them asking the other, what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? What should we do? Making decisions that are transformative for people's lives. Good, bad, and different. So I'll just be transparent here that I'm a little, I guess just I guess the word's disappointed. I'm not going to say fed up. I'm just a little disappointed in the culture we've developed of do you focus on you. You see it every day, right? You see it every day. Focus on you. Forget everybody else. Just do you. Make sure you're good and clear and you have a relationship with God, but never in the Bible or never, ever anywhere does it say to dismiss and disassociate and do you so much that you lose sight of community and connection and love. And that's just a little disappointing sometimes. Oh, I don't need no mentor. I don't need no coach. I don't need a therapist. I don't need any help. I got it. Oh man, my partner did this thing wrong to me, so I'll just go find another one, or it will just come to me later, whenever God has it for me. I've been there before. I've been with open arms, praying that something would be a blessing upon my life, and sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. And some of us have looked back and like, man, was that something good that I actually had? But I was too stubborn sometimes to realize it. You hear those stories, right? Like, man, what? I had it good. I kind of gave up. Put in the chat if you could guidance. Audio is going out. Audio is going out. Really? You can't hear me? Yay, nay. Should be able to. Should be able to. Yay, nay. It's on. It's on. It's on. It's on. It's on. It's on. Okay. 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 Maybe I was speaking a little bit too low. I'll repeat myself briefly. Guidance, 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 guidance. I need guidance. Proper guidance. Someone that's going to challenge me. God, please don't just give it to me. Give it to me straight. All right. Let's jump into our focus is pray for God's wisdom and clear direction in your life. Scripture is from James chapter 1, verse 5. Prayer, ask God to give you wisdom in decisions, relationships, and goals. Seek clarity in areas where you feel confused or unsure. and a fasting focus, surrender any uncertainty to God, trusting that He will guide your steps. So let's read James chapter 1, verse 5. It's still going out. Shalita, you said it's good. Hopefully, Tabitha is not on your end. Hopefully, Tabitha is not on your end. I'm good. 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 Hopefully, it's not on your end. Give me a one if somebody's like, Brian, you sound very clear right now. Give me a one really quick in the chat if, Brian, you sound really clear right now. Sound really clear. I don't see any disruptions on my end. Are we still good? Let me know if I still sound clear to some. One, okay. It must be on your end, Tabitha. Maybe start over your internet or modem, whatever you have. But Shalita said we're still good. All right, so I'll keep rolling it. James chapter 1, verse 5. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and will be given unto him. I'm actually going to read a different version as well. James chapter 1, verse 5. Trials and Temptations is the title. Trials and Temptations is the title. Chapter 1, verse 5. I'm actually going to read from verse 2. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. This one's hard. This one's really tough. You know why it's tough? Because it's almost like, well, when do the trials and temptations stop? When does the hard fight and restarting and going anew and rebuilding again, like when does that finally stop? Because after hit after hit after hit after hit, it almost seems like I'm attracting trials and tribulations. And you get to a point in life when you are just, the trials and tribulations for some begin to overshadow the even glimpse of opportunity ahead. And you're just trying to play this ratio game. Because again, it says here, like, trials and temptations, consider, my brothers and sisters, that whenever you face trials of many kinds, you got to test your faith, producing perseverance. Let it finish its work, persevere again, show up again, do it again, be mature, be an adult, suck it up, suck it up. Internally, in your deep and internal darkest soul, you're really hurting on the inside, yet you're trying to still just take another step and take another breath. You're just looking for that glimpse of hope and opportunity for finances to be abundant, for love to enter again into your life or to continue and sustain itself, to allow yourself to even feel the level of excitement for life again and again and again and again. And I'm here to tell you that it is possible, that the impossible can become possible. We have a very short stint on this earth and life that we have to live, and you aren't required to give up any of your energy where you don't see fit. But I will say that make the most of the time that you have with not only yourself, but make the most of the time that you have with the people around you. That everyone's trying to get clear, that everyone's trying to seek guidance and proper counsel. Everyone's trying to live this perfect life that they have put on their vision board. And yet, when we get to more experienced versions of life, you start to realize that that vision can become true, but at a sacrificial point that I have to give up some things to get to that point. The story of some of you have heard, like, man, if only I had $1 billion, man, if I were Bill Gates and if I were Jeff Bezos and if I were Robert Smith, and if I were Oprah Winfrey, man, if I had that, I'd be helping out California and I'd be doing this and I'd be doing that. And man, Trump, you got so much money, like you could be just saving everybody and paying everybody's taxes. And you just realize, it was actually said on a Trump podcast. It was actually asked of him, hey, like, do you believe that some of your counterparts, your fellow real estate billionaires and your fellow business owners at a very high level, could they do this job? And he said, they aren't willing to bear what actually is truth about them. How many bridges had to be burned? How many people had to be fired because it was just, they weren't that good? Knowing that I had to break up a home to build, to provide new housing for some people, I can't save everybody. So for some new person to build up and have a home to live in, another person had to lose their home. So when we ask for what God is trying to put in our lives, and if only I had this, the responsibilities and the level of abundance that is put upon those that are willing to steward it is a true responsibility. It's sacrificial. For someone to give up of their life and go in monk mode, or for someone to truly follow the word of God to the fullest extent. Think about how much, if you're talking about a true, like, I'm going to do everything the Bible says, I'm going to do everything in every religion to the T, how much sacrifice that is. Oh, can't do that. Bible says this. Oh, can't do that. Bible says that. Oh, can't do that. That's not what God would do. What would Jesus do? My bracelet says this. That takes sacrifice. So everything in our life that we're trying to be guided along, we have to ask ourselves, what am I willing to sacrifice to get there? And what am I not? Am I willing to sacrifice love? Am I willing to sacrifice money? Am I willing to sacrifice time? Am I not willing to sacrifice love? Am I not willing to sacrifice time? Am I not willing to sacrifice whatever it is for you? Let me actually read off sacrifice. An act of slaughtering an animal or surrendering a possession as an offering to God. Offer or kill as a religious sacrifice. Am I willing to kill? Am I willing to give up? Let me lighten the load a little bit. Am I willing to give up something that is valuable to you in order to help not only myself, but another person? You think about protectors of families, and I would do anything to protect my family. I would do anything for this person. I would really be giving up everything to just have an extra moment with them. That's sacrifice. And some are willing to do it, some aren't. That's okay. Nah, I'm not willing to do that. Okay, that's what it that. Well, isn't there another route? Not really. What's the saying? You can't have your cake and eat it too. It's one way or the other. Make a decision. Now, does that mean that forgiveness? We talked about forgiveness and deliverance, right? Does that mean that I can't retract? Does that mean that I can't like retract my sentiments and like go back like okay, I sacrificed during this season, but maybe I want to change my sacrifice or maybe I want to lighten that load. Yeah. Yeah. You have the absolute ability to do so. Let's read off our word and I'll get us out of here. Let's read off our pivot year. Let's read off our daily stoic and I'll leave y'all be. Daily stoic. Put a 5 in the chat if this has been good thus far. I know for some it's maybe been a little bit choppy, but put a 5 in the chat if this has been good for you thus far. Understanding that there is a muted point that when someone says, I want clarity, they're looking for that one and done decision. That's it. That's gonna be where it is. I'm not gonna retract, renege, go back on whatever I'm saying. Because pride and ego, and that's okay, stick with your word. But understand that just because the word clarity means to be clear, right? To resolve a problem or just a little difficulty in your life does not mean it can't get muted again. And maybe just like the defrosters on a windshield, right? We've been talking about this windshield analogy or metaphor. Just like the defroster, like it gets defrosted again, and then you wipe it off, and it gets more clear, and then you wipe it off again, and then it gets more clear, and then you wipe it off again. It's like, oh, I'm seeing different things every time I wipe my windshield. That's literally how we make decisions. But I think a lot of us, I've learned too, that sometimes the drastic decisions that we make in our lives can leave a footprint that we can't come back from. Can't come back from it. So be mindful of what you're asking for clarity on. Be mindful of what you hear when you say you want to do this, because now you have direction. Be mindful that that is it, because our life is malleable. Our brains are malleable and adaptable and can be flexible and go back and forth. It's supposed to be in flow. It's very much like the stock market. It's up and down and up and down, but as long as the exponential curve is up, those small decisions in the words that you were being very mindful of in the moment, being factual and logical while also being emotional, is perfectly fine. January 11th. If you want to be unsteady. The image of the Zen philosopher is the monk up in the green, quiet hills, or in a beautiful temple on some rocky cliff. The Stoics are the antithesis of this idea. Instead, they are the man in the marketplace, the senator in the forum, the brave wife waiting for her soldier to return from battle, the sculptor busy in her studio. Still, the Stoic is equally at peace. Epictetus has reminded you that serenity and stability are results of your choices and judgment, not your environment. If you seek to avoid all disruptions to tranquility, other people, external events, stress, you will never be successful. Your problems will follow you wherever you run and hide, but if you seek to avoid the harmful and disruptive judgments that cause those problems, then you will be stable and steady wherever you happen to be. I'll read that last piece again, and I'll summarize it in my own words. We're all looking for stability. I just want to be stable. I just want to have a little level of comfort where I can just breathe. I'm looking for a level of serenity, i.e., peace and quiet in this loud world. These are the results of our choices and judgments, not our environment. We can choose to be still and present wherever we are. We can choose serenity and peace and tranquility in a disruptive world. You can choose to be at peace and loving to yourself in potentially a hard season in your relationships or your finances. You can still find serenity and tranquility in those moments. Because guess what? It's just a moment in a season in time. So the clarity and guidance doesn't mean disrupt everything. That's what it's saying here. If you seek to avoid all disruptions to this level of peace, man, forget everybody. Oh, this external event's doing this. Oh man, like the world's going astray. Everything is crap. Man, my stressors, my anxiety, my PTSD, my this, my that. Like, oh man, like we begin to project outward, right? Yet someone might be sitting right next to you like, what's wrong with them? It's kind of peaceful here. Are you being this disruptor? So it's not the environment, it's not the situation, it's not the business, it's not the other person. It's actually in here. And it's not even that you have to project onto yourself that it's all your fault, but you then look upwards. You're like, man, okay, I'm projecting right now that everything around me is wrong. So let me look upwards. God, what are you telling me? Okay, let me look inwards. Because maybe I'm missing something around me that actually is a level of peace and comfort and protection. So I'm running. Then you will be able to be stable and steady wherever you happen to be. The pivot year, January 11th. You do not have to be grateful for everything in your life. You do not have to be grateful for what you have survived, for what you didn't know, for the lessons learned too hard. You do not have to be grateful for the unfairness to live in a world that does not value dignity the way that you should, a world that has lost its soul. But even in the midst of the storm, when you stumble upon a glimmer of appreciation, I hope you will hold on to that. I hope you will know that it is real as anything else. I hope you will offer it as much attention as you can give. I hope you will remember that silver linings foretell of the light of the day that will come. I hope you will know that just because you are not grateful for all it does not mean you aren't grateful for any of it. I hope you will allow yourself to contain more than one truth. That not every phase of your life will tell the same story. That not every piece of this existence will flow congruently to the last. That more is possible even in the past did not show you that it is. That our greatest dreams and our deepest fears do not coexist. And the existence of one does not negate or lessen the other. That the very moment that you honor where you are will complete surrender. You open the next experience life wants to offer. I'll leave you be. I didn't say a prayer at the beginning of our live, so I'll make sure to say it to end it off. But thank you all so much for being with us today. If this one hits you a little bit deeper, if there was a different tonality and less excitement, I want to uplift you towards the end of this just to say that it's going to be okay as much as we think that it's not going to be. If you're doing fine right now and you're trying to preserve what you have, and Brian, I've gained clarity. I hear you. I've been on the other side and I've been set free, right? I've been released. I've been delivered. I've had repentance and forgiveness, and I have the grace of God over me. That is a beautiful thing. But just know that that is a beautiful thing that should be stewarded and preserved, because the devil is always trying to come into your life and to your relationships and to your friendships and to your family life and to your finances. And just make sure you have a barrier of protection to know that what you have is present and precious. Lord, just please be with us. If you bow our heads, just please be with us as we go through this next final day of prayer and fasting, these 7 days. And if someone decides to continue on further for whatever they are fasting over in this season, give them the ability to understand that it's going to be okay, that not everything that they're looking for clarity on should be perfectly clear and beautiful. That sometimes it's a little mess in the middle, that sometimes it's just a little bit cloudy, but there is a sunshine on the other side of those clouds, that there is ability for a clear road ahead, that there is ability to rebuild, that right where they are in that car trying to wipe the windshield off, there's not maybe another person. There's maybe some kids in the back that they're having a tough time just being in the car with. There may be somebody that's not there anymore. They're driving alone in a car trying to just get clarity because they're trying to navigate their way to the next destination. Whether that's financial, whether that's relationally, whether that's a career, whether that's a new business idea, I mean, whatever it is for them, just allow them to see that you are right there in that passenger seat, that they're not alone, that they have somebody there with them. It's tough. It's tough that you've been through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decades, potentially, whoever's listening to the word today. It's tough that there's been seasons where you thought you were clear and you thought you were making the right decision, but it just didn't end up working out. There's been seasons where you had immense amount of clarity and it still didn't work out. There's been seasons where you've had an immense amount of guidance, direction, clarity, everything, and you fumbled the bag. There's been also beautiful seasons where you've had this great sense of clarity and direction and peace and tranquility in your life, and everything is just going as planned. Understand that that is a beautiful thing as well. That this life is going to be of ebbs and flows, valleys and mountaintops, but just know that you're there right with us. Lord, give us the strength to fight another day. Give us the strength to continue along this long year, but yet short year in the grand scheme of life. Thank you, O Lord, for being with us today. Our 6th day of prayer and fasting. Allow us to eat good this evening if they are fasting from food, that it may nourish our body and bring us strength. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you all. Again, I can't say it enough. If you're listening to this in the future and you stumbled upon this video, please let me know that you tuned in with your comment. Make sure you check the links down below, because we do have a support group and a community of thought leaders inside of Leverage University, our Discord platform, where we're growing spiritually, mentally, financially, career, business, whatever you are. If you're just looking for a sense of purpose, if you're looking for a sense of guidance and clarity, and we're all working together in union, that's cool too. Thank you all so much as always. Peace, love, and blessings. I always say, until next time, until tomorrow,